Hi, hello, hello, hi, and welcome to All Our Hearts and Minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good, the bad, the concerning, and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, keeping our passionate heart.
Yeah.
Then there's me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes. Please.
Hey listeners, we're back again with a new episode. This will be likely this is our last episode for 2024. Glad to see another year and thank you for sticking with us. So, before we jump into anything, we have to always start with our checkup. So, my friend Kim, how was your week? How have you been? It's been a couple of weeks. How have you been?
Well, I'm doing okay. This phlegm just won't leave me alone. But
Mm,
other than that, work has slowed down
mhm.
significantly, which is always
Yeah.
nice. Just daughter's not feeling very well, so
Mm,
have to step into mommy mode. But
yeah.
overall, it's okay. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. That's not bad. That's
you
not
know.
bad. Considering the time of year, that is actually pretty good. Pretty good.
I
Pretty
think
good.
the time of year that's keeping me going at this point.
Oh
Like,
yeah, the chair. You have to kind of get into
right? Like I
the.
have to, but overall, could be
Nice.
better, but we're alive.
Okay,
So, but how
nice.
about your week? How's your week doing?
My week
Or
was,
couple of weeks, I should say.
yeah, it was pretty hectic. It's not even like work wise. Like work has been winding down, and it's kind of just tying up loose ends,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, scrambling for a few things. It's kind of like before you go on vacation, because I'm on holiday now till the New Year and just trying to wrap up loose ends. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's a little hectic because you're short on time. But either way, that's out of the way. But it's also nice because it's like the time of the year where everybody's a little bit more social. So been
Yes,
going on
that's
like
true.
little Christmas dinners and happy hours and lunches and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's always nice because it's a year, it's a part of time of the year where you can indulge guilt free. At least I
Right?
indulge
I
guilt free.
do. I sure do.
Shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, shoot.
Because it's like, because even if you want to, it's not like, even if you want to be cautious with what you're eating, and as you should obviously most of the time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just you're being pulled in so many directions. You're so many little
Right?
outings that involve food. It's just a season where food is a very much involved
It's a big
big part of this
thing.
this part of the year, right?
Just moderate. Like,
Yeah, try.
take a
Yes,
little bit
exactly.
of the cake. You know what I mean? Like, take a
Exactly.
little slice.
Yeah. Just a little nibble.
Just a little slice.
So I've been doing a lot of that. So that's always that's one of the ways I try to stay, that gets me a little bit more cheerful for the season. It's not a season that I typically am cheerful for because it's just a lot, but those are
Hmm.
the small things you can do to make it enjoyable, I guess. Yeah, but other than that, I think I'm feeling good. I'm going to be spending Christmas here in Toronto with my family, and then going to Florida for to get some sun. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm just going to, make the best of it. And it's so funny, there's a lot of people that I've talked to in my family and at work who are going to be going there for the holidays. So I don't know what it is about this year, but a lot of people are going to Florida
We need
to
some
get some sun.
sunshine. We want some
Yeah.
sunshine, nice weather, beaches. I don't
Yeah,
wrong
and
them
it's,
at all.
I don't wrong
Hmm.
them, but I mean, although like I got a car rental and I was like, damn, I've never paid this much.
Right?
And I have a discount too. I was like, I have never paid this much for a car rental in
Mm-mm.
Florida or anywhere else. I think
Right?
there's a premium because obviously it's all the snowbirds on top of everybody else
Right.
who's going
Yeah.
to be doing the same thing that I'm doing. It's going to be very hectic, but I'm going to have to bite the bullet because I need a car when I'm in Florida.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so so you gave a rating. I would say I'm around the same. I would say I'm
Hmm.
around the same, and for me that's usually good because normally, we're gonna have a little Christmas chat in a second, but yeah,
Hmm.
Christmas is a lot. So it's
Right?
good. So it sounds like we're in a good space. We're readying ourselves for the holiday and to spend time with
Hmm.
family and everything that entails.
Brace yourself.
And
Shit.
but yeah, that's good. I love it for us. And so okay, before we get into our headlines, this is our last episode. and we're going to keep it. There are some topics that we felt we needed to cover before the
Must.
year ended,
Mhm.
and so we're going to hit on a few of those, not too many of them, but
Mhm.
just the stuff that we had to leave, and we can't let 2024 go with us having that in an episode.
Yeah.
And then, but we're going to start with a little Christmas chat. This is our last episode, and
Yeah.
we're considering this our Christmas slash New Year episode.
That's
And so we
right.
thought we'd just have a little chat around that. As our listeners are going through preparing for the holiday, we can get prepared with them and,
Yes.
go through memory
Mhm.
lane. So we thought we would just have a little retrospective on the holidays and Christmas. Like, I mean, we celebrate Christmas, we're Christians, so
Mhm.
I know different factors, different religions celebrate it in different ways. They may not celebrate it, but it's like it takes over. Like
Right.
I have a friend who's from India. And she's like, yeah, Christmas is a big thing in India. Like India is the Christians are a minority, but Christmas is still a big thing because of colonialism and stuff like that.
Of
So
course, yeah.
even though you're not necessarily Christian, a lot of people do observe the holiday in some shape or form. And so
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, we thought we'd just talk about like some of our favorite
Yeah.
memories or not so favorite memories and moments, gifts, food. So I think I was going to start. Okay, I'll start with the stuff that I love.
Yeah. Okay.
Always start on a good note. And the stuff that I don't like, it's not something that I hate. It's just I don't love it so much.
Right, exactly.
So let me start with food. So me generally, I love to go back home and have my Jamaican food. In the holiday,
Thank
I just
you.
want Jamaican food. Like that's when I
Give
really
me the rice and peas,
listen.
please.
Christmas and Easter, I want Jamaican food.
Right?
Take me back, Gayad. Like yeah.
Right?
Like cuz
Shoot.
I don't generally like my mom has slowed down with her cooking
Mhm.
and me myself like to me cooking Jamaican food is not it's not I just live on my own, so cooking Jamaican food is for like a big amount of people. It's not like
Yeah, it's
cooking
time consuming,
yeah,
so
cooking for one or two. No, I'm not gonna be doing no Jamaican food for cooking for one or two. Like if I'm cooking Jamaican food, you're cooking for at least 4 or 5 people, right?
right? Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah, so that's why I love this is a time of the year where I really crave it and usually have an abundance of it. So I look forward to it. So, we have the traditional like when people in the family go back home, my uncle always sends two big bags of frozen aki.
Oh,
So this is when you get the
he is a good man. He is
fresh
a
fresh aki and
good
saltfish,
man. Jeez, man.
fried dumpling, boiled dumpling, whatever you want in between, salted mackerel,
Mm.
chocolate tea. Oh, my favorite
Oh,
chocolate
that's my
tea.
favorite. I grew up like having that every
I
Christmas.
love chocolate tea and Christmas, and it's so rich. It's like, anyway. So that is one of my chocolate tea is one of my favorite things of having boiling it up in the morning and having it, and obviously the hard old bread and
Yeah.
everything in between
That
and
Christmas breakfast,
Christmas breakfast.
it is something to die for. Like honestly, because like you said, the hard duck bread, the hard old
Mhm.
bread,
The duck
you
bread,
have to
yep.
make sure you go get your piece of duck bread.
Mhm.
Okay?
Where do
It's
you guys
just
get your duck bread?
my
Where do you
mom,
mhm,
she goes all over. Like
mhm.
honestly, she'll
There's not
go
one
to
place.
um there's a one that's on Kingston Road, and they
Mhm.
also make other pastries and stuff
Mm,
like that. Um but I leave it up to her. She will
okay.
hunt down a duck bread. Like this woman will find wherever there is. And why I call it a duck bread is because
Mm,
it's hardo bread in the shape of a duck.
mhm,
So it's a must.
mhm.
It's a must. Like
And
when you're
we
talking
take
about
time.
food,
Mhm.
when you're talking about food, that's what Christmas is for me. I'll be honest. Like that's
Yeah.
why it's so hard for me not to gain a 5 pounds. Okay. Like honestly, I look forward to it. It means a lot. It brings back memories. It's nostalgic. Like it's so much for me, right?
Mhm,
I love food,
mhm.
as you could tell. Anyhow, but that's not the point. The point is that it brings back tradition, because like what you're saying, you grew up having your ackee and saltfish Christmas morning. Like that was a must. You know what I mean? There's certain things that had to go on during Christmas season. My mom, one of them was pigeon peas. Like gunga peas for
Yeah.
rice and peas and stuff.
Mhm.
And curry goat, it's must. Like we don't. ever have Christmas without curry goat. Like
Mm.
it's just it's a part of the whole Christmas season for us.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when you were talking about food, so there's moments with Christmas that I really love,
Yeah.
and one of those moments are going to church. For me, I
Mhm.
like going to church on Christmas because it's not necessarily like a full service. It's more
Yeah.
of a Christmas service dedicated to Christmas caroling and telling the story of Jesus' birth. And so for me, even before my daughter was born, it was something that bring me a lot of peace and a lot of joy and a lot of
Mhm.
happiness. So I make it a point, even now that I'm a mom, to make sure that I find myself at a church on Christmas Eve, or
Mhm.
New Year's Eve. We do both. And it's not like gonna take you forever. It's maybe an hour and a half at max if there's a play going on. But these are moments that really mean a lot to me, like going to church and filling my spirit
Yeah.
for the Christmas season, because like there's so much propaganda out here. Like every minute you turn around, it's like consumerism,
Oh
consumerism, and it's like,
Lord, yeah. It's more
you know
than
what I
that.
mean?
There
Like
is a
just
reason for the season, as they say.
right, and shopping just ain't one of them. But that's a whole nother topic I've noticed with shopping,
Mm.
as I segue,
That's a segue. Good segue to the irks.
because the irks. Now, usually, okay, I can't stand going shopping during the Christmas season because people are just fanatic. It's
Yeah.
like, we're all gonna, if you don't find the dolly, that's okay. There's another store. You can go to another store. Like, it's just the consumerism of it all. And, oh, I
Mm.
gotta have. And it's like you're ready to, kill your neighbor for the latest bottle of wine. Like, relax. It's not even that serious. But what
Mhm.
I will say is this year, when I'm out here shopping, I've noticed that there wasn't a lot of chaos. And
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. Lord knows. I love the fact that I could go into the store and get the hell out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I've noticed that, I don't know, maybe everybody's going online.
Yeah, they got the memo. I mean, I think it's been slowly okay. So I would say the trend, yes,
Yeah.
COVID. I mean, I was shopping online for a long time already, but all the people
Yeah.
who are holding out and who prefer to go in the store, COVID forced them to like get into online shopping. And I think a lot of people are just thinking like you and I, where it's like we're just trying to avoid that
Right?
terrible feeling of the lineups and everybody being so crazy in the store, and they just decide, you know what? I'll go online. Even as long as it's going to be delivered to me in time,
Right?
I'll go online. And another thing since COVID, I feel like the stores don't really put their at least in Toronto here for us, I would say the stores are not putting their top quality inventory in the store.
They're not.
And if they are, they're putting maybe a couple of like a few racks. They're not filling up the store with the top um
Do you think that's
releases.
because there's been an increase in theft?
That's
I just thought about it.
I never thought about that, but maybe. I don't know.
Because you
But
go to
although
these
you need to
stores and it's
oh,
like
but
ghost
you
town.
the
Like, what the hell?
the thing with stores though is like we call it window shopping, right? So we always at any retail store you're going to have
Hmm.
your mannequins, whatever your new releases, everything is going to be. So at the very least you still want people to walk into the store. But to your point, I think nowadays if we were to look at trends, I think there's like the weight of purchases like especially with certain, like I would say more of the stores that are geared to maybe millennials and younger.
Hmm.
I would assume a good portion, if not at least 50%, is coming from online. It's probably almost over there. Obviously, it can vary depending which country and city, whatever.
Right.
But I do
Right.
feel like a healthy amount of the purchases, particular probably for their new releases,
Right.
are coming from online. Because I remember when you would shop, whatever your favorite store is, but whenever their new stuff comes in, like say for
Right.
example, let's say for me, I'm gonna be to show my high chest, but I was spending half my paycheck on this. I would not advise people. So one of my favorite stores, I think it's gone, was called Jean Machine.
Oh,
Remember Jean Machine? And they had two brands.
yes.
Remember the Mavis and the
Yes.
Parasitos. I found
Yes.
here I am thinking Perosuco was some global big brand. I think it was a French.
No,
It was a French brand. We have to have this another discussion on this. But anyway, Gene
because
Machine
I
was
know I have myself a pair of Suco, but I thought this is big, big something
me
all
too.
around.
Me too. I got a rude awakening a few years back when I actually looked into it. But anyway, another story. We should put a pin in that, listeners. We need to talk about Perosucos. But anyway, my favorite store is G Machine. So for
Yeah,
example, I mean, every store, no matter what it is, what garage, whatever your American, whatever apparel, whatever it is, anytime you get your new stuff, that's the stuff that's going to go the fastest, right? Because the people that are passionate, they're going to
that's
come.
right.
So it's like you need to know if you're really, and if you're a real shopaholic, you'd go to the sales girl and be like, "Oh, when are you guys getting the new fall
Right?
lineup?"
When's the new shipment? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so I know, so I don't come in and they don't have my size because I was not one of the smaller sizes. The smaller sizes are always left, but the bigger the 10, 11, 12s, which is what I was around the time like a teenager, I was in the 10, 11. Those went fast because most women are 8, 10. That's like the average.
Right?
So
Yeah.
those would go fast. So to my point, it's like we were talking about the stores. It's like I think now they, even if they do, I still probably think they do have the new releases, but I think they're not bringing as much. Like they go fast, especially
I
like think
guess
like a store like Zara. They're gonna probably have it because they're supposed to put it in, and they probably have it in the window, and they need to say that they have it in the store if it's in the window. But I don't think
true,
they're
true.
maybe back in the day they brought 20 pairs of the same item, new item, but maybe now they're probably bringing all 5, 10. I'd be surprised if
Maybe
10.
because
Hmm.
like you walk past these stores and you're like you can see the damn dust bunnies on the floor. Like where is the
Pretty much,
clothing?
yeah, I
Where
agree.
is it? And I noticed that when you shop in these stores, you find a lot of one-offs. Like
Yeah.
because they're ordering online and returning in the store. So you
Yes,
find a lot of one-offs, like
that's a good point,
ones
yeah.
that don't fit anything. Like where did that come from?
You're like,
Um
"They did not have this in
they did
in the
not have
future."
there is no more. I'm looking around. Where is it, right? But overall, I feel like these stores they just don't have the inventory.
We need to do an episode on retail therapy next year. That's what this is
Right?
telling me. But, yeah, so you were talking about the shopping and the irks and like that. I would say, I'm with you there, but I have tried to in recent years, like with the new trend, I try to order online what I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I can, but usually if I'm ordering online, that's like if I'm doing like a Black Friday.
Yeah.
So that's when I'm going to be like, if there's anything I had in mind that I wanted to purchase for myself or anybody, I would probably do it around that timing. And if I don't do it by then, I'm just going to put it in my mind to browse the store. And because I already have something in mind that I know I can get in the store, I'm not taking any chances. It's something that I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can get this in a store.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And usually with the store, you kind of get a break because as it gets closer to now, we're recording on the 21st. So
Mhm.
now the stores are really going to start trying like putting markdowns already on their Christmas stuff because, you know,
Well, it's funny that you said
hmm
that because that's gonna help me segue into a memory that I had.
you have a memory. Okay. All
So
right. Go
memory,
ahead.
well, it happened. Well, when I was a teenager, I would say between the ages of like 15 to 19,
Hmm.
going Boxing Day shopping
Whew.
was the lick. Okay, it was the lick. You waited. You planned out. Okay, I'm gonna hit
Yes.
up this store, this store, this store. I remember back in the day, Christmas time as a teenager, I was just waiting. How much money am I gonna come away from this
Yep.
Christmas
Christmas
with?
money.
I need my Christmas money so I can go do my little shopping, my little tutus, go down to Eaton Center, hook up with the friends, go from store to store. At one point, it was you could actually go into a store. And yeah, there'd be a lot of people, but you could just go into the store. Then after a while, it was like you had to wait outside the store, this huge line you have to wait in order to go into the store. It was just like consumerism at its top, at its height, and I remember as a teenager, linking up with my friends and, oh, we're gonna make our way downtown, and it was like a big to do, right? And
Mhm.
it was fun. it
Yeah.
was fun it
It
was
was.
fun spending other people's money. Number one. Number two, it was fun because we had a whole outing and got to
Yeah.
hang out with your friends, and always make sure you hit up the food court before you leave, and the train ride home, talk about, oh well, I got this one, and oh, look at the new pair of Sukos that just came out, like, big
Mm.
talk, and had a good old funky time. As an adult, yeah, it's not so much.
Oh
It's
no,
fun in a different way,
especially with online.
right?
I don't
Eh,
need to go out and go
Right?
sweat in the mall and be in a
It's
lineup
it's
and
a different day. It's a different day because I could order it well in advance. I could put it in my cart, leave it in my cart until the 26th, and then they'll just take off the percentages
yep.
off of whatever's in the cart.
Yes,
Hopefully that it's still
I
there.
learned that trick. The real serious folks learned me that trick. Just create your
Just put it
list,
in
add
your
to cart
cart.
until the sale. Whenever the sale, like say Cyber Monday, you're ready to press
Yep.
purchase. The discounts are there, and you're ready to go. Yeah,
Boom.
that's a good hack, everybody.
It is.
Um, yeah. So okay, that was your memory. And so I guess okay, so I was saying I love the food. I guess I can leave on obviously food, family, like those are the things that really warm my
Mhm.
heart about no
Yeah.
matter how I'm feeling, no matter what, I'm glad to like spend Christmas with my family. And those who don't, I mean, like if you have friends who have a situation or whatever, people reach out, invite them. Like it's, being
Exactly.
being alone on Christmas, I can't imagine.
No.
I've heard stories. I don't see myself doing that. I'm thankful I don't have to. So if you know
Yeah.
somebody around you who lives on their own or their family's far
Right?
away and they can't travel back home, send them an invite, you know. Um,
Exactly.
so one of my irks before we move on, okay,
Yeah.
we talked about this as so far everything you said, I'm with you, girl. I'm with you. Say we're on the same page.
Right?
Um, I would say it's like thinking of like there's lots, but let's say thinking of gifts. Like I have a
Oh
thing.
God.
Okay,
Oh Lord. I
here's my
can't
thing.
imagine it.
Listen, here's my thing, people. Here's my thing. I feel my POV, my personal opinion is I really just feel like we need to get out of the idea of giving an adult
Right?
who's functioning and able to support themselves a gift. I think you can give a card as a sentiment, which I love getting cards by the way. I love a good
Me
card.
too.
I
Me
don't need
too.
nothing in it. A nice card with a sweet message. I love
Right?
it. I just love it. And but like there's certain or consumable like my new thing now is giving consumable gifts. So
Yeah.
if I know somebody likes a certain type of tea or coffee
Right.
or wine or just like a treat, if you don't even know what they like, just give a treat. Even if they don't like it, they can give it away or share it amongst their household, whatever it is, something
Right.
consumable. Because when we give people trinkets, you don't know what they like, or a scarf, you don't know their style.
Oh,
I just
it's
think
so
it's like it's
hard.
too hard. It's very, very
It's
hard,
hard.
especially somebody like me. I'm particular about my things, so
Right?
I
Exactly.
wouldn't want to give something to somebody and they're like, "This is not my taste." Like I know this, like and I don't want to waste. It's wasteful. I
It
think
is.
on both ways. It's a waste of someone's
Especially
space.
wasting the space of the person. So if I give you a
Yeah.
trinket, you don't like it, it's gonna store dust in your house. Like, but as you talk about that, when you say gifts, now for
Mhm,
me, my
mhm,
mom's birthday is on the 9th of December, right?
mhm.
And Christmas is shortly after. So
Yes.
for me, the gift giving thing, like my mom is very particular, and
Mhm.
she doesn't need anything,
Anything. Yeah. Right.
right? And so I try to find ways, like practical things that she might not get herself, or
Yeah.
she might not think to get herself. And
Mhm.
so this Christmas I got her a stand-up hair dryer, like the ones that you have in the salon.
Yes.
So I bought her one because she does her hair and stuff like that. But she wouldn't have thought to do that for herself,
Mhm.
right? So I have to, it's hard finding a gift for her because I have to rack my brain twice for the month of December, bro. Like it's hard in these streets. You know, like
But like,
what do you give
mhm.
to somebody who has everything
They
and
have
doesn't need
everything and
anything?
they're not particular, and yeah, my
Exactly.
mom's kind of like that too. So exactly. So I do the adults that I will, but I will say the adults that I am happy to buy for are my
Hmm.
parents, because it's my parents.
Exactly.
That doesn't take nothing from me. I know them even though if they don't appreciate. Like, I've learned over the years not to get my dad. Like,
Right?
I've learned over the years what not to give my mom. But like, even like other like friends, like, so now that I finally am at the age where I don't feel guilty, I'm like, I'll give a card, and
Yeah.
if we see each other, I'll give. If you like wine, I'm happy, because I'm like, easy gift. You're getting some nice
Right?
wine or liqueur, or all those other things. That's my go-to now. But I've found the balance, but it was always hard before when I didn't know better. Um, like, to figure out what to get like the adults in my life. But now I focus on the kids, and any adults, I'll give them something consumable, and
Yeah,
that's
no,
it.
I agree. And as adults in my family, we just focus on the kids, and
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I'm
Mhm.
good with that because we only have three small children under the age of 13.
Mhm.
And I think that once you're, a certain age, it's like it should be understood that, the gift, they're not there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But if I happen to see, you know, a young person in my family, maybe I'll give them a $20 or throw them some
Yeah. Yeah.
cash or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes. That's what I.
Like
Yeah.
like honestly, I'm not up for it. The days of going out there to shop for me for other people are slim
No.
to none. Like
None.
like honestly, I'd rather go online. It's harder and harder to buy for people because
Mhm.
we consume so much already. People have it. Like they already have how many damn pots you want? How many damn kitchen towel you want, Richard? Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Right. Come
You
on.
know what I mean? So
That's a
after a
good point.
while, it's like, okay, well, here's a card and here's some chocolates, something. Like I'm not up for it. I'd rather the memory. Creating the memory with people, like that's, I love cards just like you do. I love them too. And spending the time is more precious to me than anything that like
Yes.
could be given. Do you know what I mean? Throughout the year, you don't get to see certain family and like spend time with them really. So like for
Yeah.
me, I like that. I'm okay with not, doing a gift. But there are times where, I'll get a bottle of wine from a friend, or give us some chocolates over here, or nothing really, or maybe a gift card for Starbucks or something. Like during the year, you can have a coffee on me, or a few coffees on me. But honestly, Christmas is a great time of year to really just relax and hang out with loved ones. And also those out there who don't have somebody, like I'm glad you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. Mm.
Tap into them, man.
Mhm. Call them. Give them a call at
You know
least.
what I'm saying? Like this is the time of year, if any time, to tap into those people.
Mm.
It's never nice to be alone on Christmas. I no one has ever written a story that it was so awesome to be by yourself on
No, haven't
Christmas.
heard it yet. Haven't heard it
Never
yet.
ever, right? So it's just a time of year that, what, you have your family, your friends, have those moments with them, but reach out to people who don't have family and friends, because honestly, I don't even know what that would be like.
Yeah,
I
and
have
even
so much damn
sometimes.
family. Like, geez, on. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's a good, and that's a blessing that
It
we're
truly
we're
is.
in a city with, and in a city where a lot of our family are, because there's a lot of people who migrate here, and maybe they can't afford to go back home one year or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. So it could be lonely. I've talked to people like that, and I try to always um reach out when you can or whatever, and when you're having a support system. So in that note, I think we'll,
Yes.
we'll end there, and I'll just say, first of all, happy holidays, merry Christmas, whatever it is. The reason for the season, it's a season of giving, connection, laughter, cherish the people around you.
That's
Let's
right.
remember to support each other, uplift each other, and spread kindness, not just now, but the spirit of
Right?
kindness. All the altruistic things that you have now and feelings you have now, it should
Yeah.
here hopefully and it should carry you out through the year, at least 6 months. At least get halfway,
Yes. Yes.
until you get jaded in
Right?
this
In the
6 month point.
spring. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
and then finally, everybody donate. Remember, we get tax. We're in Canada. I think in the
That's
U.S. it's the
right.
same. You get your tax breaks if you forgot to do your donations. Well, yes, you have church. Your tithes count, but
Yep.
everything else, any don't like right now. I need to like send out my donations. Obviously, I want to donate to the organizations. Like one of them that I always donate to every year is Covenant House, which is a
Yeah.
organization that helps youth on the street.
Right.
And
Right.
then I always am open to look for a couple more to add to it. So it's a season of giving. So donate now. Obviously, you're giving for out of your heart, but you also, you can write that off on your taxes too.
That's
So,
right.
happy holidays, everybody, and we're gonna jump
Yes. Happy
into
holidays. Merry Christmas, everybody. You
our
know,
headlines. And so these are the topics. Listen, guys, we wanted to share the Christmas cheer, but we also can't end the year without talking about these
it's
topics.
a must.
And we didn't record we didn't record one week. We skipped a week, so we need to get into these topics before 2025.
Right?
Um so
Especially, listen, I just want to say something right off the
yeah.
top. Cat Williams, I
Oh
need
Lord.
you. I need you.
We don't
Okay?
we don't want Cat Williams at the top of not no,
Please.
maybe mid
February,
January.
March, please,
Yeah.
sir.
No Cat Williams at the
Okay?
beginning of the year.
Please. We can't do another year of Cat Williams and his predictions. Okay? We can't. Just give us a minute. February, March, springtime, let us get through the winter.
Yeah.
Goodness. I just had to say that because
Woo!
we
Yeah,
saw what happened last year.
that's
Shit.
a good point. You guys remember it was a January 3rd, January 4th, 2024. We thought it was just Cat Williams and on Club Shay
Okay.
Shay. And
Okay.
what we got was a prediction of the year if I didn't hear one. And I don't know, the year, I feel like it started the year in a crazy, revealing way, and it just tumbled throughout 2024. And it was a
Sure
lot.
did.
It was a lot.
Sure did. That's why I'm like, Cat, listen, sir. We love to hear you talk, but I can't, sir. I can't. I need
But
at
why do
least
I
to get
feel
through the
like they're
winter.
winding up? Why do I feel like Shay Shay's winding up for that? And I'm like, Shay Shay, please, at least
Please, Shay.
not the beginning of the year, not
I
right at the beginning.
can't. Okay, please, sir. Please. It's
Okay,
too
so
much. Because I say that because when you look at the topics that we're about to discuss,
hmm
Cat called all of, like, he called it. You know what I'm saying? And so we're gonna end the year with all of his predictions coming true. And I just need you to stay quiet till the spring. That's all I'm saying, Cat. That's it. It's not that
yeah,
hard. Just
at least February. Like if you're gonna come in the
no,
beginning
you
of the
have to
year,
go after February because that's Black History Month. So we can't be doing them shit in
don't
the
reclaim
Black
too much
History.
feather in Black History Month. I mean, I felt like it would be appropriate, but it would again be a bit too big of a moment again, I guess.
Like, you know, just I can't. Just wait till the spring. That's
So
it.
that takes us over to the Jay-Z story. Everybody's heard it by now. And we kind of wanted to have a discussion around it amongst ourselves as well. I'm going to start off by saying, and my caveat for my thing is, I don't put anything past
Mm-mm.
any man, more or less a rich and
Right?
influential man. You just
Okay.
can't. We just can't, right? But right, for me personally, um, I think we always have to remember that anybody on the street can say anybody did something to them.
Right?
Anybody can use the word can accuse. Let's say that, right? Anybody can accuse. And I feel like in this case where now Jay-Z is being tied into a accusation that was initially put against Diddy and
Mm-hmm.
the other culprit being unnamed. Um I would say that, and based on the news that we were seeing around Diddy and all the social media fodder, people were putting Jay Z with Diddy before when all of this started coming down. It's like, who's
Mhm.
next? It's like you brought up Cat Williams, so that sensationalism, right, around
Yeah.
around the story. So everybody around Jay-Z, sorry, Diddy, is now being looked at sideways. Not
Mhm.
that that's natural. To me that's natural, but like that's fine. That's natural for people to do. But I also feel like it's like now the opportunists are poking their heads around. I believe that there could be a valid story, but I also felt like just the way everything has gone down, that I'm giving Jay-Z, long story short, the benefit of
Mhm.
the doubt. So unlike Jay-Z, unlike Diddy, who already had there's numerous stories around Diddy being a pretty much a gangster, being um you know sexually aggressive with men and women. That was always around the smoke. You know what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire?
Yeah.
Diddy was surrounded by smoke the whole time, for a long time. So if somebody comes out and accuses Diddy, I'm gonna be
Right?
like, I'm gonna put some weight to that.
Right?
But if someone's gonna come around and accuse Sean Carter Jones, sorry, it's Sean Carter, also known as Jay Z, I'm gonna be like, it's possible, but I need proof. Anything's
Right.
possible, but I need concrete proof.
Right. Right.
And the a lawsuit was one thing if you read it. The
Yeah.
lawsuit to me, I'm going to summarize it in short, but what I read and what's been put in the news, I'm like, yes, this could have happened, but it's
Right.
also like, which parent? It just it was it's a stretch for me. Let me
Right.
put it that way. For
Yeah.
me, it's a stretch. There's a lot of people who just got into it and bought into it, which I'm a little bit surprised about. But anyway, we now,
Well, yeah.
as of
Mhm.
today though, we she's done it. Accuser has, who made the allegations at Jay-Z, has done an interview with NBC, and it is full of, sorry,
Lies.
flaws and fallacies, I'll say. That's all I'll say for now. And anyway,
It's
what
lies. Anyway,
yeah,
um
well, we're trying to, so the
yeah.
accusations, and
Yeah.
how did you,
Mhm.
okay, let's start with this, because we've all seen the news, we've seen the accusations. And the main thing, let's say the top headlines, as before we kind of go between our back and forth, is she was 13 at the time. She was from like Rochester, somewhere from upstate New York. So that, which is about 4 or 5 hours away from the inner
Mhm.
city of New York where the incident happened, which is Manhattan. She says she made her way down there. 13 years old, took a 5 to 6 hour trip from upstate New York
Okay.
to inner city, to Manhattan, New York, NYC. Okay, first. Then a random limo driver picked her, said they saw her, said whatever, whatever. She looks like Diddy's type. Okay. She goes to the party, whatever, whatever. The incident happens. She fights her way. She was drugged. She was drugged. Let me, that's important. She says she was drugged allegedly. And then she's in a room, and then sexual assault happens. And whatever, during that, she kind of comes to herself, fights her way out, grabs her clothes, runs away, calls her dad. Listen, calls her dad to come pick her up.
Mhm.
Okay, that's the gist. There's little details in there, but
Mhm.
it's all in the news. Everybody, you could see. So these are the
Right.
headlines because I want to discuss this timeline of events. Um,
So,
Now
mhm.
fast
Mhm.
forward, she does the interview, and NBC asks her about the details in the document, right? And she adds some more details about some artists that she said she saw there who have an illumination.
Yeah, some sauce. She put some sauce on
She
it.
put some
Mhm.
sauce, and then the biggest thing is they talked to her dad, and her dad was like, I don't recall the incident, and I would remember if I left my house to drive 5 hours to go pick my daughter up.
Right. Right.
So I'll leave it. Those are the big bombshells. There's other little bombs, but those are the big bombshells that now poked a big hole in her story. And so now, when the holes came out, the NBC went back to her because they're like, this doesn't make sense, and everybody's um challenging it.
Yeah.
And she just came back saying, I've made some mistakes. She pretty much said, I made some mistakes, but I'm sticking by my story. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop there. Sorry. What did you want to say?
So, okay, first, I want to put out there, like you, that I don't put it past none of these people that this could possibly be happening.
Yes.
Okay, that there is young girls that are being sexually assaulted, raped, harassed. I'm not putting it past none of them. I will
Mhm.
say that Jay Z rolls in the same crowd as Sean Puffy Combs, so I'm not putting nothing past nobody. First. Second, Jay Z has a tendency, if you look into his past, of liking and being with young girls.
Mhm.
Foxy Brown was one.
Mhm.
Okay? Foxy Brown was maybe 15, 16 years old when she met Jay Z, who was around 20, 21 years old. Okay? Now, his supposed, he has a son who supposedly is his son and has been trying desperately to get the DNA test done with his father. There's this accusation of this young man, I forget his name right now, who, if you look at him, I don't know, Jay, I don't know. You're looking kind of, away here.
Mhm.
But he's been trying to get a paternity test done. And one of the reasons why he seems to think that Jay Z has been refusing this paternity test for the last 15 years is because his mother was 16 years old when she was impregnated.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm saying all of that to say, even if we look at Beyonce was a young tenderoni. She's maybe 17, 18 years old, okay, when she met Jay Z. Okay, I know that they're celebrities, and I know that we kind of give them a bly when we wouldn't give other people the same bly. But here's the thing, the fact is, we have three examples I've just listed of Jay Z liking young girls.
Mhm.
So, now, whether this was true that they assaulted this young 13-year-old girl or not, the fact that you have a history of liking young girls doesn't play in your favor.
Mhm.
I need more evidence because this young lady, I don't know. It does not sound it doesn't sound factual, but I'm not going to say I don't believe her. I
Mhm.
don't know if I believe her. I need
Mhm.
more evidence. She needs to provide a whole
Yeah.
slew of evidence at this point because
Something
her
shaky.
story is crumbling
Mm.
behind her.
Yeah.
Okay? And she's holding on tight to each piece that's crumbling, but it's
Yeah.
crumbling,
It's
right?
crumbling. Okay,
That
continue.
I'll give it. That I'll give it. Her story does not seem factual. However, we all know that the higher powers that be, okay, are targeting Jay Z. They're targeting other people that may be associated to Puffy. All of a sudden now they're looking for people to grab into this net of uh Puffy's, his nefarious acts. And unfortunately, Jay Z is being pulled in because we know that they were really close.
Mhm.
They were really close, right? So, right. So, with all that said, I'm going to say I don't know if this is factual. It just doesn't make sense to me as a parent how
Mm.
you have a mentally challenged child and you don't know where the hell they are.
That's another.
Five
That's another
hours,
piece I didn't bring up. I didn't bring up
5 hours, and you don't
Mm.
know where your mentally challenged child is. That, sorry,
Mm.
that's, she's obviously, if that were the case, then there should be CAS at that, or child services at their door, because I don't understand how you don't know where your mentally challenged child is for even 5 hours. This happened over the course of 48 hours.
She's so I didn't mention in the interview, sorry, in the facts that the accuser is autistic. And I mean, autism is on the spectrum, so
It is.
you could sound like me and be autistic. But I did, if you hear her voice, you can clearly tell she has a developmental thing, as Kim is saying. But sorry,
Yes.
continue.
And so as a parent, I can't possibly imagine not knowing where my child is, right? For 5 hours, let alone she went 5 hours, did whatever she did, the next day would have had to call, okay, to get help. So we're talking, and then wait for her father to drive 5 hours. So we're talking about, at least 24 to 36 hour time frame where you don't know where your child is. Okay.
At 13?
Is it possible? Maybe,
Yeah,
because
that's true.
children are fast and run away, and because she's not entirely there and is on the spectrum, we don't know how far on the spectrum she is.
Mhm.
Okay, but what we can say is that she is not thinking, even at a 13-year-old's mind, clearly. So The facts just don't align. Now, your father seems to not know or recall what the hell happened. Let me tell you something. One time, my nephew called me. This is before I had a child.
Yeah.
One time, him and his friend were stranded on the street. They called me at 12:30 at night. I rushed. I was maybe 20 minutes, half an hour away from them. Okay? And I will never forget that day. So and that was a long time ago. My nephew is in his 30s. Okay?
Mhm.
This is a long ass time ago, and I will never forget having to be called at 12:30 at night, put on my clothes, go get my nephew, and drop off him and his friend. There's no way I'll ever forget that. So how can a father who has a mentally challenged child that he has no idea for at least 24 hours where the hell they are? A father who has to drive 5 hours away from his house to get that call at that time in the morning. Okay, what she was saying,
Mhm.
you don't forget that as a parent because your
Nope.
heart's racing. You wish your body could be wherever they are quicker than you could get your body to where they are. So I don't understand how he don't remember or recall or whatever. So
Mhm.
these things look kind of sketchy. And the fact that she is on the spectrum, right? Not to say that she can't still experience all of this,
Mhm.
right? But it does speak to a lot of things with the situation and what she was describing. Yes, she's not going to know mentally. I
Yeah.
shouldn't just go with a limo driver.
Yeah.
You know, where the hell are they? Who are they? Like, obviously, just being a 13-year-old, you're going to think that way, right?
Mhm.
Um, and the fact that this young girl was able to make it 5 hours away from her house,
So nobody
she
asking.
convinced somebody to drive her 5 hours away from her house, then it speaks a lot to her being on the spectrum. So how Jay-Z and Sean wouldn't have recognized back in that day when we didn't have, as much we looked our age.
Mhm.
You could dress all you want, but when you look at that baby face, right? You could tell. Back then, there wasn't a lot of makeup wearing. There wasn't a lot of, surgeries and Botox and little girls at the age of 12 having a facial routine. Like, there just wasn't that, right? So she would have looked 13. She would have looked 13, especially since we're
Mhm.
now saying she's on the spectrum. She would
Mhm.
have looked 13. I don't care if she had a grown woman's body, she would have looked 13. So I don't know how you travel 5 hours away from home looking like a 13-year-old, okay? And having all of this happen. Now, I'm saying, before I finish what I'm saying with that,
Mhm.
is I'm saying all of this not knowing any true facts.
Yeah.
The facts that we see so far can, even within, our conversations, we can break them down. The facts that she's giving out can be broken down where they might not seem factual. So we need to sit and wait and have this go to trial. And we need more information before we count it out. Because they were doing nefarious things. And in
Mhm.
Jay-Z's past, he likes the young ones.
Mhm.
That's just the truth. So, I mean, Beyonce, look how much younger she is than him.
Yep. Mhm.
So, and back then, it's funny because back then, when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, dating a guy that was 20, 25, it wasn't a big deal.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's right, but it wasn't a big deal. And if he could be with, Beyonce, which we know he must have been talking to Beyonce well before we all saw, publicly
Mhm.
that they were talking, you know. But I'm interested to see what's gonna happen here. Um, they're gunning for him,
Oh yeah.
and I think he knows that.
So my question for you is: so you saw you saw his letter, right?
Whose letter?
Jay-Z. So when the accusations came out,
Oh, to the
Jay-Z,
lawyer. Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
I mean,
He
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 sent that.
basically called him a fool.
Yeah, and the thing is, he it was different. So a lot of people are discussing. Some people are like, we're saying it was the wrong move and everything like that. And I know the tone of the letter was different. It was, this is Jay Z. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was like, most people don't come out swinging like that.
Yeah,
But
he did come
obviously, if
out
I put
swinging. Yeah.
myself in his shoes. He's already lost. Like the minute these accusations were put into a lawsuit, he's already
That's
at
why
a
he has to come out swinging.
so, but sometimes people just come out simply and say this is they deny and say it's going to be handled in court and keep it moving, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I'm just saying for discussion, there are me personally, I think I'm on the minority, but I like how he came out because some people are like, oh, you're protesting too much, or even the tone of the letter was pretty condescending towards the lawyer,
He
not
pretty
the
much called the
accuser.
lawyer a fool. Pretty
Yes,
much.
not to the accuser, but he went after the lawyer. But and I do have something to say about that lawyer in a second. And some people are saying it was wrong. Like even though you're hot and you're pissed off, you shouldn't show it. Most people don't, but he kind of you can clearly tell in the tone of that letter he was cussing I feel like he clearly wrote this letter. Of course, his lawyers probably vetted it, but I feel like most lawyers would advise against this.
Most
Um.
lawyers would have said, "Don't say a goddamn thing.
mm.
Don't peep nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't do nothing. We
But
will
I feel like
handle it."
he didn't really have a choice in this case because this is not something you let sit and simmer. And whether he came back with a statement like he did like this or not, he's kind of the nail is in the coffin, let's call it.
You're damned if you and you're damned if you don't. And so I see why he came out swinging. He came out swinging because he's defending himself.
Yeah.
Now that's a good and a bad thing.
Yep.
You know, when
Because it
you
makes
come
you
out
look
swinging, like
arrogant,
it makes you look
and it makes you look
guilty.
arrogant and
It makes you
arrogant.
look like what you think you're above the law,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Especially how he was talking to other,
Mm-hmm.
like an actual lawyer, right? Who this is their livelihood. This is what they do. And now it could be said that because you're coming out swinging, you have something to defend.
Yes, exactly.
Innocent
That's
people don't they wait for it to, you know, unfold. But I understand why, because this is not like they're gunning for Jay-Z. They're coming after him. I said
Mhm.
that months ago, that they're coming after this man. They are trying their best to take all sorts of black, um not excellence but wealth
Yeah.
away, because we're talking about really powerful black men,
Yeah.
really powerful.
Remember, this guy has influence in the NFL.
uh
The NFL, like, okay, we can't get into that, but this guy has. If you have sway in the NFL, listen, we were talking
okay,
about the sports institution, more or less a football institution in
okay,
America. Now,
okay.
okay. So my question for you. So it sounds like you're with me, where it's like he didn't have a choice. It's either he didn't really
He
have a
had to say
choice.
something,
He had
and
to
you
say
know what?
something.
Like when you're backed up against a wall, most people will start swinging.
Hmm.
When your back is up against a wall and people are coming at you, your natural instinct is to defend self. And I think that's what he did. But I think that he you did a little too much.
Yeah, I
You
think he
should
put
have passed that by
a little too much hot sauce on it. I think.
it was yeah, yeah, yeah. You talk about the man's suit. Like, calm down. Like, what we doing?
So here's my issue with Busby. So pretty much he's tearing down the lawyer, and already here's the credibility of the lawyer. His name is Busby. His last name is Busby, so I'm gonna be calling him Busby because that's an interesting name. Um, the accuser's lawyer. He's been going back and forth on Instagram with fucking Jay Z. Like,
Right?
so that's already one thing that's he is kind of falling into the trope that Jay Z painted him as, because the fact that you're going back and forth on Instagram with these accusations
Right?
is, I don't
So
know, it's looking a
stupid.
little bit interesting to me.
Yeah, you look
Second,
stupid.
did he not vet the accuser's story? The
Well,
accuser's
that's the
story.
thing.
And then third, you let the accuser go on to NBC News with all of that. That sounded like stuff you would say in a courtroom.
Right.
Not in an
Well,
NBC interview.
right. No, but I see his tactic.
What's that?
Okay, here's a tactic that he's pulling. He's trying his best to rattle Jay-Z
Okay.
to the point where he
He'll pay.
slips the hell up.
Mm.
Right? Because, okay, and I know everybody is backtracking and pussy popping, including Jaguar Wright, but
Mm-hmm.
one thing I will say that Jaguar has mentioned is Jay-Z is smarter than Puffy.
Oh,
He's
of course,
smarter.
clearly.
He's more
Yeah.
meticulous. He's more right. So, how do you catch somebody who is like Jay Z, who is very meticulous, who is very conscious of what he's doing, what he's saying, where he's going? How do you slip them up? Well, you have to get them out of their character.
Mm.
How do you get them out of their character? Throw out accusations.
Mm.
Now you throw out accusations. Look what he did with Pierce Morgan. That was telling. That was
Mm.
very telling.
Mm.
Excuse me. Because up until this point, it was all about Puffy, right? Puffy this, Puffy that. People were trying to connect Puffy and Jay Z, but it
Yeah,
was
they're
mostly
throwing him in
Puffy,
it.
Puffy, Puffy. Now, okay,
Yeah.
so now we know Puffy, he's destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
It's
he's
just a
done for.
matter of is he going to spend the rest of his life in jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of public opinion, he's done. So, what
Oh
did
yeah.
we do? We have to come after the Jay Z, but
Yeah.
Jay Z is more intelligent, and
Mm-hmm.
he's not so vulgar with his movements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Puffy's vulgar. He's out there. He pretty much, if you go back in history, he's told us everything that
It
he's
was
done.
all. It was all there. Yep, that's the
He
thing
told
with
us
him.
everything that he done. And at times back then you were probably thinking, I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Mm.
But now, how many decades later we can see he was telling on himself.
Mm-hmm.
He was so obnoxious that he was telling us about what he was doing. Jay-Z, that's a ninja. He's going to move silently. So,
Mm-hmm.
in order to get him out of what this silent, aggressor, you need to bring him into a part of himself that would naturally and he has. It worked.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's true.
now we throw out these accusations, you bark back at us, but what
Mm-hmm.
you don't realize while you're barking back at us is you stepped outside of that cool, calm, collective character
Mm.
that you want us to all believe. So what do? I keep poking the bear because
Okay.
eventually the bear's going to move the way the bear moves, right? The bear's trying to pretend that he's a mouse,
Mm.
but we know he's a bear. So we need the bear to really get heated and make a move and slip up. And this lawyer right here has that tactic down pat because it has already gotten Jay-Z to step outside of what he would normally do and make a statement like this.
Mm.
Now they're going back and forth on the social
Yeah.
medias. Really?
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
stepping outside of his character. Up until this point, Jay-Z has not gone back with nobody.
Nope.
He ain't going back and forth with nobody. So that means that this lawyer is getting under his skin. The situation is stressful.
Yeah, but
He
you see, I now that you're putting it out, I could see that I could see why he would think that's a good idea, but it's not. And like at the moment, to your point, at the moment, but I think at the end, it's hurting him, his him and his
legal
client,
team.
the
Of
accuser,
course. Of
because
course.
now it's like how can, and it's in the public. At least if it was happening in the court is one thing, but this is all in the news. So now let's say, remember, this is a lawsuit anyway, to your point, but still public opinion when it comes to these lawsuits can be influent in, does has a lot of influence. I hate to say it and it sucks, but it is what it is. And by her going on that show, everybody
Yeah.
was like, what?
But what I think is that this girl is just bait.
She's bait. Oh yeah, she's bait. The
She's
lawyers are
bait.
using her.
They're
BuzzFeed's using
using
her.
her to get at him.
Yeah, they're
So
using her.
they're using him. They're using this girl,
Yeah.
and the fact that she's 13 and all of this, that it's so nefarious because how old is his daughter? Jay-Z's
And
daughter
Kim,
is 12.
I know that's another thing. Kim, we didn't say this, but we have to talk about it. It is a white woman.
Okay?
and that
Okay.
too plays a role
Okay.
in public opinion,
Yeah, when your
unfortunately.
wife is singing about Becky with the good hair, like we don't understand the I think the strategy of this lawyer. But what I can see is that he's trying to rattle Jay-Z to act outside of his character, and once he does, he's got him.
Hmm,
So this girl is just bait.
I
And I'm
agree.
sorry, Jay, you took the bait. You
Mhm.
did take the bait.
But the interview kind of put it. The interview though, and all the backlash and all the fall through has really hurt Busby and this case. Unless they can find another woman, this is kind of now dead in the water.
Well, this particular file, this
Yeah,
particular
this
matter,
one.
yes. But
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying I think there's a grander plan. Like, I think that
Hmm.
these lawyers understand that Jay Z is very intelligent and that he moves very different than Puffy. Puffy put it in your face. Puffy was the type that hid it in plain sight. Okay?
Hmm.
Jay Z is the type who don't he doesn't even want you to think that's a part of the equation at all.
Yep.
I don't know what you're talking about, Willis. Okay, that's what he's been trying to make us all believe. So what do you have to do? You have to break that character that he's been trying so hard. Okay, because let's just keep it a buck. Jay Z is not a regular old somebody. He's a street
No.
nigger, like straight up. He's a street guy.
Hmm.
Okay, he'll tell you himself. Okay,
He said it himself in that letter.
like I ain't the one, the two. So he knows how to work around the authorities.
Hmm.
The projects that he was raised up in, oh no, he knows how to work around. He's very street smarts. He didn't just come up in the ranks just or popped on the scene. No, he worked his way up.
Yeah.
So he's very intelligent, and I think the best thing that you could do is to try to have that person break that whatever they're trying to display to the world. We want to see Jay-Z, and in part of what he said, we saw who he really is. He attacked that lawyer, and that was the stupidest thing that he could have done, because it showed the lawyer that he's breaking him. That's what it showed him. It worked.
Hmm.
So don't be surprised if in the new year there's a new allegation against Jay-Z. Don't be
Yeah, because
surprised.
now the vendetta has gotten deeper than like it's got. I
Okay.
feel like it's person. It's personal now.
Yeah. Jay-Z's coming for
um.
him.
So I guess that's what I'd want to
Yeah.
say for now,
Yeah.
and that was like the last of it. I think based on, I feel like that interview just really has pretty much gave Jay Z back all the cards in the situation. The
Right?
damage is already done anyway. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see how
Yeah.
this progresses. So we'll leave it at that. Um, and the next big one was deny, depose, and I can't remember what it is, but anyway, we're talking about Luigi, the person who murdered the CEO of United Healthcare a few weeks back. This is a big, big thing. It's one of those things where it's going to go down. Like it's such a big story on every front. Yes, social media is making light of it, but this is like going to be something I feel is going to change the culture of, if not health insurance companies, a lot of big corporations that are
100%.
seen
Yep.
as the bad guy, quote unquote bad guy. And by now we already know what happened, that a CEO was gunned down just before a shareholder meeting earlier in the morning by somebody. And he was on the run. He had like 2-3 days on the quote unquote run, and he was found. They had clear video of his face, stopped at the Starbucks and everything. It's
McDonald's.
listen, I'm
McDonald's.
just waiting for the Netflix movie. Okay, let's put it that
Right?
way. Like this story
It's
is
coming.
wild. This story is so wild. It makes for a very good movie. And I think what I want to talk about is, there's a lot of the main debate, let's say online, is
Mhm.
there are people who are with Luigi Manngione,
Mhm.
and There are people who are like, the poor CEO,
Mm,
he got murdered. But
yeah.
I'm going to be honest here. This is our podcast, Kim and I's
Yup.
podcast, so we can
Yup.
speak our truth. And from me, the room of thought and stuff that my beliefs and where I lie and where listen,
Okay.
these CEOs, especially in the healthcare and
Mm-hmm.
pharmacy,
Yeah.
listen, in pharmacy, people need to be looked. Oh, listen. Okay, let me stop there. Anyway,
Right?
I could understand the frustration, particularly in America. It's because we're in Canada where we have at least basic health care. We need to go to
Yeah.
the doctor and get care. We will get care.
Right?
There's
Mm-hmm.
no insurance, big daddy insurance company that's going to deny us care,
Mm-hmm.
making us fork out 20, 30, 40, $50,000
Jeez,
that no average person has sitting around to deal with
not in
a
this day and
medical
age.
emergency.
Jeez.
And one of the things that a lot of things have come out with this incident, but one thing that's come out is a lot of people sharing their stories, no matter,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the one thing that unites people in America right now is no matter how rich, poor, no matter your political affiliation, everybody or race, everybody has a story about being screwed over by their health insurance company.
Yep.
So this incident, we just had the previous month, where the country was divided, and now a lot of the countries coming together on this one, and
Right?
on this, and the idea of like, listen, the system of healthcare insurance companies is very screwed up, and I think this one in particular
Yeah.
is seen as a monster. We haven't heard what the other insurance companies have done or what they're doing, but this one in particular is known to be bad. It's actually one of the biggest ones because they have a lot of corporations use United Healthcare as their health insurance company of choice. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's been rumors. I've seen different numbers, to be honest, in the news. The last article I read before jumping on here is that they said they have about a 60% denial rate. I heard
60%?
as high as
The
heard almost as
hell?
high as I heard almost as high as 80 something percent. And I was like, that's crazy. Um, and it's like a denial rate where maybe they might partially take care of it. And when I say denial, like not only like full denial, but also partially, like maybe they'll only pay partially. So maybe that's where the 80% might come. But right now I'm seeing about 60% denial rate.
That's a lot.
That is
That's a
just,
lot.
yeah.
That's more than half. Like, come on. Come on. Jeanette, how? Here's my thing. You pay into this.
They pay into it, comes out of their paycheck, and they think they're covered.
And
And
we're
then
not talking like 20, 50, $40. Like, we're talking
20, 30,
hundreds of dollars.
tens of thousands of dollars. Oh, you mean from their paycheck? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Usually
like
probably
each
around a
every
hundred.
paycheck, it's a few hundred.
Yeah, a couple hundred. Yeah,
Like, that's crazy to then turn around and tell me you're gonna deny me?
yeah.
Oh no,
So
fam.
yeah, and so it's a touchy subject. Like, listen, as an individual, that CEO was a human being outside of this role, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But when you're a CEO, you kind of are not a human anymore. You're not. You're accountable to shareholders. You're accountable for profit, and you kind of lose your humanity.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, but like as a man, nobody deserves that. But as a figurehead of that
Yeah.
role,
Yeah.
based on these numbers, you might have had it coming.
Well,
Um,
he was using AI. So that's a whole dynamic there, right there,
yeah,
is
people.
that
Hmm.
this CEO, okay, first
Yes,
I
I
want to
did read
say,
about that. I did read about that. Yeah,
yeah,
continue. Yeah.
this CEO was implementing AI in the processing of claims.
Yes, that's messed
So
up. Yeah.
AI is not a person. We all know that. Artificial intelligence, we know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the AI is not gonna be empathetic to anybody. He's not gonna give a shit. He's just gonna and deny
It's
and
looking for.
deny.
It's literally looking for keywords. If it sees a
That's
keyword,
it.
and as it sees that keyword, you're denying. Maybe that's why the denial rate was so ridiculously high. But continue.
But
Yeah.
in the same breath, he's making 10 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
How do you walk away with 10 million a year? By having AI. You put AI in to do the dirty work, and then you profited from it while people are struggling. People are dying. They need medication. Like I know somebody who lives in the States, in New York City,
Mhm.
and just going to the doctor for like a regular cold and getting an antibiotic could run you over $1,000. Just a regular cold and antibiotic. We know that each state is different,
Mm.
right? We know that. However, the providers are still the providers, even in each state.
Mhm.
So the fact that people are paying their hard earned money into something, why is it called insurance
Mm. That's a good point right there.
if
Mhm.
I can't be insured? You're not
My healthcare is
reassuring
not
me.
insured. Nope.
I'm not
Nope.
insured. You've just pocketed my hard earned money by saying, oh, well, we have AI. Well, the question is, why would you put AI in that type of a field? That is more of a compassion, empathetic field where you do need a live person to look at this particular case and see whether or not it falls under the parameters that are set with their insurance policy. Like, this is not, you cannot put an AI that is looking for keywords because, of course, you're going to have a 60% denial rate. And therefore, the intention was to get rich. And you
Yep.
did.
Profit. Profit.
So I'll say this: I do not condone nor
Mm.
support killing of another person.
Mm-mm.
And with that being said, I cannot support that CEO either. I can't, because a lot of people died because of him. A lot of people didn't get their medication, were denied uh, procedures that could save their life,
Yeah.
transfusions of blood.
Mhm.
These people are dead, and this man who has put an AI so that he can get rich,
Richer.
right? Let make it straight, right? Richer. He's killing people. There's blood on his hands too.
Unfortunately, there are blood on his hands. Yes,
So
as a
if we can
figurehead.
say it's not right to kill somebody, then why are we celebrating a murderer?
There you
Why are we
go.
defending a murderer? Because he's a murderer, but just in a different context.
That's right.
At least Luigi went up to this man and shot him dead.
There we go.
I'm not saying it's right,
No.
but he was open and clear with his plan. If you hear about how they, when they research and look up and investigated everything,
Yeah.
this man was very, he had everything on point. He was stalking this guy. He made sure he knew his schedule. Yeah. And I think what this is saying, and why a lot of people are siding with Luigi,
Mhm.
is because it's the war of the haves and have-nots.
Yes, that's exactly what it's about.
But who is spearheading this war is a have. He's a have,
That's the irony of the story. He's a have. He is a
okay?
have.
And
He Ivy
he is
League.
the one leading the revolution
Mm-hmm.
of the have-nots. And the
That's
have-nots
what
are
it's.
tired as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's.
there's been so many stories that have come out because of this, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that the one thing that he has accomplished is the conversation is being had, and not just behind closed doors. It's in the media. People are talking about their stories, and you know what, more people can relate to him than don't,
Mm-hmm.
because people have had people who have been refused help and paid into things for their whole life. How do you pay into something for your whole life so when you need it and they tell you no?
Yeah. So I wanted to say we will have one more story that we're gonna
Yes,
cover.
I
So I
know
want
I'm
us
I'm
to.
long
No,
up
this is a
the
big. We listen. We can. There's going to be
right?
more coming out of this, and we're probably going to do a workout on this as well. I think this is because you're right. I think this comes down to a class revolution potentially. So we'll talk about more of this in the new year. But I did want to end on reading Luigi's manifesto.
Yes.
This is Luigi. Listen, I think it's clear. We're kind of Team Luigi over here.
Luigi, tell us already. Him tell us already what?
We're kind of Team Luigi over here.
I'm saying,
So
I'm just saying, people are tired in these streets.
we're
People
tired.
are tired. You know what I'm saying? And one thing before you say his
Yeah.
manifesto
Mm.
is that people are tired to the point where when you're, like I said earlier, when your back is up against a wall, you start swinging. You start
Ex-
swinging. People are in
exactly.
survival mode,
Mm-hmm.
especially in
Because
the
and this
states.
affects this will even affect somebody who's making $200,000 a year. Somebody who's having a salary and they have that health insurance, and say, God
And the
forbid, your
good
spouse,
health insurance too, not the basic plan, the gold plan B.
yeah, and they're still finding reasons to deny folks.
Well, when you have
Um,
AI running it,
well, that now when I read that, I was like, God damn, this is like who
that was a for sure tactic on lowering the amount of claims, okay, and how much money they put out. And now you're collecting 10 million. It looks kind of fishy. So what I am saying is, again, just put this out there so that people understand we don't support other people killing other people.
no, no, no.
But in the same breath, you know, an eye for an eye.
But
So
these
this is what
companies need to
Luigi's
start
doing.
being. If you're talking about healthcare, yes, they're all for profit, like pharmaceuticals, health insurance. Yeah, you have, but now we have to have a conversation about the profit for these needs. But that's
Okay.
another thing, America.
Exactly.
We can't tackle that. But I'm
You know,
hoping, obviously, the companies are taking down the names of the CEOs and senior board leaders on their websites now
and they
because of
should
this,
be scared.
and they're
They
scared,
should be
as they
scared.
should be, based on the conversation and the
Yeah, because that
backlash.
1% of the rich, yeah, well, the rest of us is broke. Okay, so we coming after you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, instead of these CEOs saying, you know what? Let me put back into the business. Let me put back into the people. Let me put
The
back
people, yeah.
5 million ain't gonna it's not gonna phase you. But long term, it would be profitable for you. But you're so
Mhm.
flipping greedy, right? So that's why I'm saying that 1% of the really wealthy, they're shitting bricks.
Mhm.
Because they're not just it's not just the poor people who are trying to come after you no more. It's the other rich people who are saying enough
Yeah,
is enough.
because everybody needs care. Care. It's
Okay,
universal. That's why they
come
call it
on now.
universal health care. Anyway, yeah. So back to Luigi. So
Mm-hmm.
Luigi, when they found Luigi, they found a document on his person, and obviously knowing that there would be a lot of interest in the why of it all, he said to the feds, "I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic cat CAD, and a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists to illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info is there. I do apologize for the strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the US has the number one most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we
Mm.
rank roughly 42% in life expectancy.
Can you imagine? Ah, jeez,
Hmm.
on.
United is the. It says it's in parentheses indecipherable, so they couldn't. United is the blank largest company in the U.S. by market capital, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. Wow. Okay, that's big.
Okay.
It has grown and grown, but as our life expectancy, no. The reality is these blanks have simply gotten too powerful, and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space, and frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed. Rosenthal, Moore, decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
So, I mean,
I don't know.
in the words of Luigi, and y'all, if y'all can go see the stories on Twitter. So we'll leave that at that, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll continue discussion next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Modern
hashtag
day Robin Hood, man.
modern
Yeah.
day Robin Hood, really. Okay, so we're gonna end on um some social media drama. We talked about some serious topics. This is, I don't think this is that it's a serious in on paper, because the end of a relationship is always serious to the people
Yeah,
involved, but how it's unfolding is not serious.
not
it
at
can't it
all.
can't be. So we're gonna talk about Remy and Papoose,
Hmm.
and we'll end there. I did want to talk about Nikki Giovanni, who passed away this past week, but I think we've kind of run the gambit. I just want to say RP Nikki Giovanni. Those can look
Yes,
her up. She's a big activist and poem writer, and had a lot of writings on the activist 60s and 70s Black Power movement, and a very beautiful poet, and a part of Black and hip hop culture. So RP to Nikki. So we'll
yes.
end here.
R.I.P. to you, Nikki.
Um, Remy Ma and
Mm.
Papoose.
Out in these streets, my gosh.
I'll just say I don't know the nitty gritty of it all, but like it's like this has slowly unfolded, and from what I gather, is yes, we all know the story is that Remy Ma and Papoose were in a relationship. Remy Ma got convicted of a crime and was in jail for 7-8 years, and came out, and the romantic story around her and her partner Papoose, are they married?
Yeah.
Okay, her and her husband, is that she was in prison for 8 years, and he kept it clean. It didn't.
Yeah.
He appeared to have been being a faithful husband as his wife was carrying out his sentence. She came
Hmm.
back. She had a baby. She did all these things, and they've looked like a very happy, basically couples goals. Let's put it that
Hmm.
way. They're couples goals for some people, for the hip
Yeah, for
hop
some
community,
people. Hmm.
for some
Yeah.
people. um, and then recently there was rumors and fodder and videos showing around that Remy Ma has stepped out of the relationship and
Hmm.
was dating one of the guys in their rap battle crew. She does like a rap battle thing. I don't know what to call it, but it's a production. They do videos and events and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And so she was dating one of the guys. So that happened. There was a lot of noise and everything, but it kind of died down, for me
Huh.
at least. And now this week, Papoose was letting off rounds,
Yep, sure was.
showing pictures and accusing Remy of stuff. You're right. Remy accused him of hitting her at some point during this back
Yeah.
and forth, because I thought, she looked like a hit dog will holler.
Hmm.
So it looked like, because she looked so bad in the equation of what was happening, she was coming back with something. So these little jabs were happening, but it came to a head a couple of days ago on the internet, and it was really dirty, and it was sad to see, because it's kind of like, why, like, do you guys just end this, everybody go your
Right?
separate ways. I have my reasons why it hasn't ended, but what is your, like, what do you know of this?
I'm sorry, excuse me. Well,
Yeah.
first, uh, Remy Ma and Papoose have been, I guess, what a lot of people would call, black love, couple goals,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But I always found that it seemed a little fake. It didn't seem always that it was sincere. I think that sometimes Papoose would do a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and, and Remy Ma was more, I don't know. She was more a little standoffish from him, but
Mm-hmm.
either which way, they were out in these streets portraying themselves as black couple goals and stuff. I don't watch people and their relationship as goals. That's just my personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I seen these two come on the internet, like first of all, they're not that couple. They have never been blasting each other on the internet before. This is a first. So a lot of people were taken aback, which
Mm-hmm.
I could say I was too, because
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that I did think about them was that they weren't like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
they'd take care of their business behind, you
Behind
know,
closed doors. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, right? And take care of it as mature couple. Well, not so. Well, everybody is trying to make Papoose out to be the victim in this case. And,
Mm-hmm.
yes, Remy Ma was talking to, he was a battle rapper, but I believe he was also under their label. So he was also
Yeah.
considered the help. I'm
Okay.
doing air quotations because I don't
Mhm.
believe in it, but he
Mhm.
was the help. And
Mhm.
so one of the big I guess punches to Papoose was that he is the help, and that this man
Mm-mm.
stood up and shook his hand, and and turned around, and you're later on down the road when they're having problems, and it seems like their relationship has not been the same for quite some time now. And I think they've been apart but trying to pose that they're still together because it's lucrative for them, for both of their brands. I think that Remy
Mm.
Ma is the bigger of the two brands.
Of
And
course.
she
Yeah,
took
no
the
doubt.
most hit. She took the most
Yeah.
hit in all this situation.
As a woman,
And
yep.
Papoose
You
is
always
coming out
will.
looking real clean, right? Which
Yep.
not true.
Mhm.
Papoose is doing his due too, and she alluded to it, Remy Ma, when she said in one of her many tweets,
Mhm.
um, that he's put hands on her, and people have had to call the police to get him off of her.
Mhm.
So we don't know, and sometimes the nicest guys out here are doing the most dirt in the back, behind the scenes. So it seems like their relationship hasn't been a good one for a
For a
while,
while. Yeah.
and now it's just coming to head, and we're all seeing it. But what I don't like about this situation is that Remy Ma is made out to be like the biggest villain in this whole situation. And
Mhm.
ultimately it's a married couple that doesn't want to be together anymore.
Point blank.
That's what it is. That's it. But they have, they're trying to make money off of this black love thing. And it doesn't you guys aren't in love. And it's obvious.
Mm.
And so just go your separate ways. Why does Remy Ma have to take the hit? But now Remy's like, I ain't taking the hit by my damn self. So she's
Mhm.
put Papoose upon blast. Okay, and now we're having a battle of the tweets and a battle of the messages back and forth between each other, which is really kind of sad because to end like that,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like, it's one
Yeah.
thing that you guys don't stay together and whatever, that whole image of black love, it kind of demolished,
Yeah.
but it's how you leave it. Like this, really, where you guys are being petty on the big social media, like, really? They both have significant others. They've both been messing around with other people.
Mhm.
We're just now aware of it, you know? And it's just so sad to see how grimy it's becoming, and it is. And it's two married people who are stepping outside of their marriage, and ultimately you guys just need to divorce and leave each other alone. Don't keep doing this. Like, this is going to demolish your brand. And to be quite honest, I'm sorry. I know this is gonna sound rude, but Remy, you're not a Nikki.
Ooh. Damn. Kim.
Papoose,
Kim.
Papoose, you're not a Jay Z.
Lord God.
I'm
Kimmy.
sorry. I
Lord
know people
Kimmy.
aren't gonna like what I have to
I know, and
say.
you love Remy. You love Remy more
I
than
love
me.
me some Remy, man.
You have often compared Remy to Nikki.
But in terms of fame,
Lyric. Oh, Lord, I can't
I'm
believe this.
sorry. I lyrically, Remy
Yes,
down pat.
I know you said, yeah, you lyrically. You always mean it lyrically.
Remy can destroy Nikki if she wanted to. Okay. However, in terms of fame,
It's just facts, yeah. It's just,
we're just calling it a spade,
yeah,
and
a spade, a
and,
spade.
and and the realism is that if Nicki Minaj were to leave her husband, it would literally make the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah,
Remy,
it was.
not so much.
It made the shade room.
Well, the question is,
No,
what doesn't make the shade room? That's the
right?
question.
I know. I'm still
Okay, so,
trying. I'm still fighting my battle to unfollow the shade room. I'm working on it, guys. I'm
right?
working on it
And
because
and
it's.
Papoose, your career, honestly, like, you're a local rapper, and your name has gotten where it is because of Remy. So you're
I,
not a Jay-Z, you're not a Nas, you're not somebody who has really put a stamp on hip hop. I'm not discrediting him.
yeah.
He's a local rapper. If him and Remy never made it,
Mm.
right? He would be known in New York,
New York.
and
We.
that's it.
Mm.
people would have forgot about who Papoose is. Like they like just call it a spade. So that's my take on that. And you know, Remy and Papoose, honestly, just come off of the internet, go
That's
sign
it.
your
And
divorce.
both of them are damn near 50. These are not young people.
Like I'm
If you were
saying,
25, I might be like, young people, they don't have how to regulate their
that's
emotions.
what
All
I'm
they know how to
saying.
do is express it on social media.
Come
But these are
on,
these are grown
grown
folks.
people, like grown people, okay, and they have a little girl together.
Hmm.
Like this is gonna. Does anybody ever think to themselves that this might be seen by their children? Like I feel like celebrities when they go on these tangents on the social media, do you ever think that your children might see this one day?
They forget.
Because now your daughter, she's going to get to see the demise of her parents. Like come on, fam. But anyway, that's my take on that. What do you think about Remy Ma and Papoose in these streets?
I would just say that they clearly both have done their dirt. You said it so clean and simple. They do not want to be married to each other anymore.
Like,
And it's probably been going like that for a while, and I think it's time they bite the bullet. My thinking was that because it is rare for a man to put up, like, both, it is the
yeah,
truth. It is just the truth. It's particularly in the black community. It is very rare for a man to know that his girlfriend or wife is cheating on him, and for him to stick her so blatantly. Not
right?
only is she cheating on him, but it's in the public.
With one of their employees?
Right? And
Shit.
for him to stick around. And so that was like interesting. And so I believe two things. Maybe it is a part to you touched on it. I didn't think of this before, but maybe he thinks his brand is better when he's with Remy. One.
That
And
is his
two,
brand. Sorry.
and
Go
yeah,
ahead.
and two, the little girl, like you mentioned, they have a little girl together, and he loves that little girl. And so
Yeah, he
we
does.
know when there's a divorce, the mother has, I'm sure they'd work it out, who knows, but maybe he is fearful of not having as much access to his daughter as possible. Those are the two things
Yeah.
where I think where he has bared the grudge, but I was mostly focusing on the little girl. But I do think, to your point, that he gets a lot of validation by still being partnered with Remy,
Yeah, sure
because
does.
of the brand they built together as the, like, underground rap couple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. And so it sucks, but I think now that this has all come to head, it's now this should give them the freedom to say, go ahead and sign those papers,
Please
guys.
and
Papoose and
thanks.
Remy, go ahead and sign those papers. The love is gone. It's completely gone.
It's out of
And
here. Come
I
on.
mean, yeah, now that it's been revealed, I don't think it's they should just call it quits and move it forward. So the basically the shade, the covers have been lifted,
Right?
guys. It's over. So you
It
can go
is
on
over.
ahead
And
and
I think, try to walk away with some self respect at this
sell,
point.
yeah, both of you guys. Yeah, both
Like,
of y'all.
because like the sanctity of marriage, you already messed with that. You already, you know what I mean? Like, and it's all over the place. Like, everybody and their mother is talking about this. And, this is one of the reasons why we needed to talk about this. But it is sad to see Black love like deteriorate like this. And so that's why I thought that because they've been representing Black love as their
Hmm.
brand, that they would
Hmm.
take this shit to the side, man, and go deal with this properly. Why aren't you guys divorced? Like you should have been divorced already, and you could have got divorced and still played off like you guys were together.
Hmm.
At least you're divorced, so you're not fornicating in your marriage with other people. I'm just saying, like, I'm sad to see how they are choosing to dissolve this relationship. It's really sad to see, to be quite honest. But you know what? They'll be just fine. Okay. They'll have albums after this breakup, and we'll hear all about it in the latest song. And now they have material for all of that because they
Hmm.
just put their whole business, all of it, out here in these streets. But we're going to wrap up the show. And what we did want to say to everybody out there, listeners, happy new year and merry Christmas to all of you. We will
Hmm.
be talking to you guys again in the new year, so stay safe, everybody. Think smart, Enjoy yourselves, indulge
Mm-hmm.
moderately. But we do hope that your Christmas is merry, and we will talk to y'all in the new year. Again, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas.